Clytus, I'm bored. What plaything can you offer me today?
An obscure body in the SK system, Your Majesty. The inhabitants refer to it as the planet Earth.
How peaceful it looks.
Most effective, Your Majesty. Will you destroy this Earth?
Later. I like to play with things a while before annihilation.
Hush! Ah! Savior of the universe! Hush! Ah! He'll save every one of us!
Hello and welcome to another great deck tech brought to you by Chuckwagon MTG. I'm JJ. Today we are walking through Flash, Savior of the Universe. This deck works off two main cards. The first one, Wilderness Reclamation. This will be used to untap all of our lands at the end of turn. By itself, this deck is extremely powerful, especially if you have cards that you can flash in or instant spells. We don't have a bunch of cards that can flash in, but what we do have is Raff Capashen, Ship's Mage, who can enable all of our historic spells to be flashed in at the end of turn. So with that, we have a grip of legendary creatures and legendary sorceries that we're going to use to not only shock and awe our opponent, but to take control of the battlefield and run them over. So let's walk through the deck. So first we have 4 copies of Opt. We're going to need to draw into our win condition fairly quickly. The deck doesn't do much in the early game. Around turn 4, getting our Wilderness Reclamation out is when things start happening. Additional card draw is Chart a Course. Like I said, we need to draw into it. Once we have our Wilderness Reclamation out, we need to protect it. So Negate will be the primary protector against enchantment removal. If our opponent decides to swing in, having Wilderness Reclamation out will allow us to not only cast on our turn, but also it'll untap our lands and set us up for a Settle the Wreckage in case our opponent decides to attack in. Next, to additionally protect our creatures, Shalai, Voice of Plenty, will give us, as well as our creatures, hexproof. It also has the ability to put counters on each of our creatures, which, like I said before, Wilderness Reclamation can do that at instant speed. We have Lyra Dawnbringer, so I acknowledge that we will get behind at the beginning of this. So we may need something to get our life total back up to where it needs to be. That's Lyra Dawnbringer's job. Tadyova, Benthic Druid, will allow us to additional card draw in case we haven't drawn into our win condition. And our win condition primarily is the Talpa, Primal Dawn. I've seen this come out as early as turn 5, but once it hits the battlefield with a Wilderness Reclamation out, you can protect it with Negate, and it's durable all on its own. Some spells we have, Urza's Ruinous Blast. Everything we have in our deck, with the exception of Wilderness Reclamation, is legendary. So this will exile all of our opponent's non-legendary creatures and permanents. And in case there are some permanents that they have that are legendary and they aren't exiled with Urza's Ruinous Blast, we have in Bolas' Clutches. We can take control of any permanent that they have. The great enabler of this is that with Wilderness Reclamation and Raff Capashen out, it turns these sorcery speed spells into instants. So let's walk through the lands. 3 plains, 4 islands, 2 forests, 3 glacial fortresses, 3 Sunpetal Grove, 3 Temple Garden, 2 Breeding Pool, and 3 Hinterland Harbor. Now I built the sideboard with this, but you can imagine that this sideboard can be changed up quite a bit. Originally I had Teferis in there and a lot of mean creatures, but these are more, I would call these more fun sideboard cards. If you find that your Raff Capashen's getting shot down fairly quickly, you can get some dive down into your main board to protect her. Lavinia, which is just a general protection card, slows down your opponent to just their turn. And then again with the life total, you find yourself falling way behind in life total, you can bring in some Dan the Capashen to help regain some of that life total in the early game. Time of Ice, which is a historic spell and can be flashed in with Raff Capashen, is nice. If there's a lot of tokens out, you can keep them tapped down and prevent them from attacking. And then once you hit the third chapter, or the third chapter of the saga, those things will all disappear if they're tokens. We have Cleansing Nova to clear creatures off the board. Grun, legendary creature, which you can kick out at instant speed if you have Raff Capashen out. Azor the Lawbringer, just a fun card to have out with additional benefit of having life and card draw. If you're up against a lot of counter spells, Nezahal Primal Tide is a great win condition. Can't be countered, and then you can protect it once it's out. And then of course Galta Primal Hunger, which is a must-have legendary creature in this deck. Especially in the sideboard, if you find that the Zetalpa isn't working out for you, you can throw this in as well and have an additional monster out on the battlefield. So let's jump into some gameplay and see if we can get this deck to stand up and dance for us. Alright, here we go. Good luck, Cruise PR. This hand is not good, so I'm going to mulligan it. No card draw and no early game plays at all. So this has all of our land colors. I think I'll have to keep this and hope we draw into something useful. Okay, we'll keep that opt. So let's get our Temple Garden out. Enters tapped. Okay, so we're up against a life gain deck. Let's get our Glacial Fortress out. Pass turn, and we will opt at the end of their next turn. Hopefully we can draw into our Wilderness Reclamation. Or Raff Capashen. I'm happy with that. Alright. Passing turn. Okay, I'm not really too concerned about their life gain. In fact, I'm okay with their life gain. So we will flash in Raff at the end of their turn. And we are... You know, we could Urza's Ruinous Blast right now and kill all of their enchantments, which might be a good play just to slow them down. I might go ahead and do that. Before we have our Wilderness Reclamation out. Okay. We are slightly vulnerable right now, but yep. But we are slowly making our way to a Zetalpa Primal Dawn hardcast. Okay, we will get this out and keep a negate up for removal. We will prevent that removal. So I will go ahead and block here. Wow, we are just what are we up to? 7. So we're gonna let that enter tapped. We'll keep up our negate for protection of Shalai, our only fighter there, because I think we can race with them. Ixalan's binding, which I say no. They hit us for 3 minus the 1. So let's attack. And let's draw into something beautiful. And we draw into Lyra Dawnbringer, which now has hexproof because of Shalai, so they have to take care of Shalai first. Okay. And now they can't swing in because we can defend. And I'm sure they have, wow. So I'm going to go ahead and attack in. Well, I'm going to hold off because I'm sure they have some sneaky, you know what, I'm going to risk it. Totally worth it. Oh, that was first strike. Let's draw into our... Wow. And we are hitting nothing. I think we need to draw again. Wow. And I think that ends our turn. So we can hard cast the Talpa now, but with no protection. We don't need any more lands. So I think we can, wow, we are just so land heavy. I think we're just gonna take their one creature. And then we'll swing in and see if they settle the wreckage on us. I still think we have them on the ropes at this point, because we can Tatyova next turn or just a Talpa. I think they're negotiating whether or not they can take a hit, and then when I swing in with both next time, settle both. It's a tough decision. Alright, so they take the hit. Their life total drops to 2, and we are... I'm not going to cast a land on this turn. Save those for Tatyova. I mean, we're doing this the hard way, but we're getting it done. Not a wilderness reclamation to be found. Wow. So I think we can... We'll just cast their one attacker at them. Or we'll attack them with their own creature, which will make them drop a life, and that wins it. Not the win condition I had in mind, but a win's a win. Alright, let's jump in and see if we can get this deck to do the thing. This is a good hand. I'm going to keep. Temple Garden tapped. We'll do a Hinterland Harbor chart, of course. And let's get rid of... I think we need to keep Negate in hand. Maybe we can get rid of Settle the Wreckage for now, just for now. We have 4 of these in the deck. There are at least 3. But we do have the makings of a very nice turn 5 Zetalpa. And there's Settle the Wreckage. Right on cue. Let's draw in again. Oh, and there's Raff. Let's get rid of Bolas clutches, I think. Yeah. So next turn we'll Wilderness Reclamation. That'll untap our lands. And then we can flash in Raff. And then I think it's Zetalpa time. Alright, so let's get... We got white, we got blue, we got green. So, Wilderness Reclamation. And I think it's actually going to happen. So we got Negate up to protect. So we will be stopping on our end step. So they're drawing that resolve. I'll let that resolve. So they shock us. And then I think from here we'll flash in Raff. And then Zetalpa should be on the battlefield here in a moment. Oh, that's kind of cool. No blocks. We have a bigger flyer than you. Alright, so there's 5. So let's try not to mess up the mechanic on this. when it goes to end turn, we're going to tap, 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 tap. So we need 8. We're going to resolve. That's going to untap. Then we're going to tap, 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 and Zatalpa. So let's see them deal with this big boy. They could flash it back to our hand, but we're okay with that. Or bounce it back to our hand. Yeah. And I think their vengeance shocking us now. Yeah, they don't want us flashing anything back in, but it's Wilderness Reclamation that's going to give them heartburn. Because if they try to swing in with anything, we will settle the wreckage all day long. Now we're well protected. You know, we can just sit here and settle the wreckage or negate all day long. Yeah, you can resolve that. Arclight Phoenix, resolve. Swing all you want, because we're going to settle that. And that's game. And that's how it's done, folks. So thank you for watching. If you like what you saw, be sure to like and subscribe. Share this with your friends, your family, your pets, because everyone can use a little more magic in their lives.